Hello world, Techie Girl here, and this is Techie Girl Takes on Land Rush. Land Rush is yet another in a series of vaguely educational minigames. In this particular case, this minigame is from Nancy Drew Trail of the Twister. Now the Nancy Drew games have minigames within them that all have some sort of cultural or historical significance based on where the game is situated. In this case, we're in Oklahoma, and Land Rush, the game, is based on an actual land rush that took place in Oklahoma in 1889. Now, the rules of the game that we're playing are actually pretty simple. You claim any color along the border, and then you can expand to adjoining colors. So you want to grab as much of these colors as possible because that'll expand your area quicker. The more you claim, of course, the more you get, but you have to watch out for what they refer to in the directions here as a sneaky sooner, and I'll explain what that is in just a second. The board itself that you're looking at is meant to represent the almost 2 million acres that were up for grabs in 1889. This had previously been designated as Indian territory, but thanks to improvements in agricultural practices, that had changed, and this was now more valuable land. So once word got out that this was going to be up for grabs, settlers that wanted onto the property and have legitimate claims actually popped in along to all the towns along the borders and turned those into boom towns. Those settlers became known as boomers as well because of all the towns that popped up along the edges of here. The Sooners were people that snuck onto the property early and tried to lay claim to something before noon on April 22nd. So there were situations where you had people that popped in and tried to lay claim to areas, and those claims didn't get worked out for years. It took a while. They'd start out in the local offices and then might have to go to the federal level to get that worked out. Once you had laid claim to a property, you just had to demonstrate improvement on that property in order to keep it. And that could have been buildings.
Oh, yeah, take that, Sooners! I won!
The improvements to that property could have been buildings. It could have been farming. There could have been a lot of things that designated an improvement on that property. So in order to designate improvements, towns popped up overnight. There was so much expansion in this area that Oklahoma became designated as a territory just over a year later. And that was a lot of work. Speaking of work, I'm sure I've got work I need to get back to. So you can catch me later.
And that's how the West was won.